Inside the New York State Museum in Albany, researchers are putting together a 1,200-piece puzzle. So many of these pieces of timber are warped after centuries, yes, centuries, underground and their recent exposure to the elements. They were discovered inside the footprint of the World Trade Center back in 2010 while construction was underway for an underground parking garage. The work was paused, and archaeologists quickly realized it was a ship. It was taken to Texas A&M University.
The first thing they had to do was sort of virtually reassemble the ship.
So each piece was 3D scanned. The timber then spent years soaking in chemicals to remove moisture. Then they were freeze-dried for preservation. And this year, the pieces arrived at the museum.
The top of the ship would have been right up in here.
The museum's curator of historical archaeology, Michael Lucas, says several clues have come to light, pointing researchers to its exact origins, and it is nothing short of shocking.
It fits the lines of one of these early gunboats, which is basically a barge with a cannon on it.
Based on the insides of the lumber,
You can see the individual rings in here.
they know it was built around 1775 and that the wood came from the Philadelphia area. It fits the style of other gunboats believed to have been used during the Revolutionary War, like Benedict Arnold's seen here at the Smithsonian.
It was a small vessel, but you could put 40, 45 sailors on there.
And if this military coat button discovered within the floor timbers is any indication, those sailors, for a time at least, were British.
It probably happened when the British captured Philadelphia. Then at some point they brought it up to New York, and as we know, the British occupied New York. This was likely brought up by the British to New York, and where it found its demise.
But it's now getting a second life. It'll be the centerpiece of the museum's celebration, marking the country's 250th birthday next year.
There's going to be about 3 more rows of planks.
But what makes this even more unique, it's being put together in full view of the public.
I could probably stand out here every day and talk to people in the public all day long coming by, because they're always curious about what you're doing and the story behind the ship.
How fascinating. So, Chris, how in the world would a ship have gotten buried there in the first place?
Well, it's crazy, right? So back in the 1700s, the outline, the coastline of Lower Manhattan used to look a little bit different. The island was narrower back then. It has expanded over the decades, over the centuries. I want to put a map up here to sort of show you what I'm talking about. Let's illustrate this here. So the interior there with that white line, that is what the island of Manhattan looked like the coastline was in the 1700s. And if you look up at the top of the screen there, that's where the World Trade Center site is. And right below that is this Vehicle Security Center. That's what they were constructing at the time in 2010 when they found this ship. And that then, back in the 1700s, would have been in the water. So when the island of Manhattan, when officials expanded, they added landfill over the years. That's how they grew the size of the city. And so the landfill would have been added to where this ship was. And that discarded ship would have very likely just ended up in this pile of landfill. And Sharon, experts believe it is very likely there are probably other ships buried somewhere under the island of Manhattan.
Probably.
As well.
I love the history behind that. Chris Welch,
wild.
thanks so much.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your community, click the subscribe button here. You can also download the Spectrum News app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.